Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, and this is a review where I actually don't even know what I'm going to talk about, because I don't know if this is going to be a rant, if it's a review, can I rant on it, does it deserve to be ranted on? When I clicked on it on Netflix, I thought I was getting one thing, turned out it was something completely fucking different. Roger Corman presents Splatter. This was a this is the film that's comprised of a miniseries that was made for Netflix back in 2009. I know I sound awful. Springtime in Maine, so that's great. It was an interactive short horror web film, and it was directed by Joe Dante. Great. Gremlins, the It's a Good Life segment of the Twilight Zone movie. Gremlins 2, I believe. Go on to do Small Soldiers in the 90s, which I grew up with, but Gremlins. So Joe Dante, and produced by Roger Corman. Now, the film aired over 3 parts on October 29th, November 6th, and 13th. And basically, it's a splatter film. So it's going to be very gory, and, you know, everything else is not going to matter. Like, this is a definition of a splatter film. Go back to the original splatter films of the 60s, Herschel Gordon Lewis, where didn't care about acting, didn't care about filming, didn't care about set design or production, as long as the gore and blood was there. That's what this is. And you have your cast of characters, and the audience would vote on who would die next. It's like, okay, that's kind of cool. And what's on Netflix now is the completed movie version, which is only 29 minutes. I thought it was going to be like a film, but I started watching it, and then I pulled it up on the tablet, and I couldn't find it. It stars Corey Feldman. I actually had to go to Corey Feldman's Wikipedia and then find it that way. And so yeah, it's only 29 minutes, so there's not going to be much to talk about. First off, I'm a big fan of Roger Corman. He's directed 55 films. He's got close to 400 producing credits. A lot of them went uncredited. I've reviewed a number of his films from the 60s. Those are the ones I think are his best. I've reviewed all Roger Corman's Edgar Allan Poe films with Vincent Price. I've not yet reviewed Terror with Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff. I think he has a credit on that. I know there's a few directors. Haven't reviewed Little Shop of Horrors. But Roger Corman, he's a low budget, real culty, horror filmmaker. His films are cheesy, but they got charm to them. So that's what I thought this was going to be. And Joe Dante, he's known for his cartoony fun. I guess you could say, like Gremlins, there's sort of like a wildness and fun, like what you would see in a cartoon. You look at Gremlins, you look at his segment on Twilight Zone, Small Soldiers, and actually, I know I'm forgetting films by him. How the hell do I forget? The First Howling. How did I forget that? I got to review that sometime. The First Piranha. Explorers and Inner Space. I've never seen. The Burbs. He did do Gremlins 2. Matinee. Looney Tunes Back in Action, which was a bad movie. And he did 2 films of Masters of Horror. So all his films have this sort of high energy, sort of cartoony, fun quality. So that mixed with just a low budget, definition of cult film production of Roger Corman, making a splatter film, this just has fun written all over it. Because I love splatter films. I love gore, blood, even if it's cheesy. Herschel Gordon Lewis, his films are laughable, but they're still entertaining. I've reviewed, I think, 5 or 6 of his splatter films. I reviewed all his splatter films except for Taste of Blood, which I now do own. I gotta do that one soon. And I think The Gruesome Twosome, and then there's Blood Feast 2, which I don't have. But that's really what they're going for. Take Roger Corman's sort of cheap, but we'll get it done, and get it done fast. Roger Corman stuff at the 60s, with just as long as it's gory, it's fine. Nothing else matters. Sort of splatter mentality of Herschel Gordon Lewis, with the high energy, fun, and almost cartoony levels of Joe Dante. That would be a recipe for total awesomeness. And the whole interactive thing probably would have been cool if I had caught it then. But even catching it in this 29-minute segment isn't bad. Granted, Corey Feldman, I know he's got his demons. I know he's struggled with various things. I know he's made a spectacle of himself in other ways. But it does feel like he's trying here. The other people, the other big one is Tony Todd, which he's one of the ones that people would vote for who would get killed next. And everyone else is pretty much a nobody. I mean, his bass player isn't even listed in the cast. Stuart Pankin plays Dr. Bellows. I Dream of Jeannie. Stuart Pankin, he was the dad on Dinosaurs, which also reminds me of Joe Dante. There was also a 90s Jack and the Beanstalk movie where the giants are like blue-collar suburban families, and it was a comedy. He was the giant dad. So Stuart Pankin, he was the first to go. Basically, Corey Feldman, he's this washed-up rock star who commits suicide. And there's these 5 people that were close to him, but there's bad blood between them. And when there's this pre-recorded video, like Jigsaw, telling them what he's left for them in their will, where to find it, and I have a hard time believing that he's washed up or fallen on hard times, because he lives in a fucking castle, like literally a castle. Looks like a Roger Corman castle, but it's a castle. And so like Stuart Pankin, he was like a psychiatrist or something. He goes into this phone booth because he has a phone, like this really retro phone booth in his castle because the cell phones are jammed, and it just electrocutes the fuck out of him. Now, keep in mind, I said cheap, cheesy, as long as the gore looks good, because the electricity looks like something you would see on 90s kids TV, but the gore is there. I mean, you see his eyeballs bursting, pus coming out. Great first kill. Next, the bassist that's not even listed in the cast is this woman. I don't even know who she is. She gets her throat slit. This other guy, character's name was Mortis, as in a rigor mortis, played by Mark Allen. He produces the online franchise Trailers from Hell. Hasn't really been on anything else. He's the jealous guitarist. He smashes the guitar that he's left. He plugs in this one that he wants. Apparently there's even a gift shop in his castle because there's a price tag on it. And, it gets turned up so loud that his ears just start gushing like thick, syrupy, obviously fake blood. Now, I will say, because there's two kinds of blood that's obvious that is fake. There's like the really thick, almost see-through, syrupy stuff. And then there is like the pure red tomato paste paint from like 70s Italian films. As far as it's obvious that it's fake, but I think it looks better. I got to go with the red paint from Italian films and Dawn of the Dead, stuff like that. And obviously, it's made for horror fans, so of course people are going to vote for Tony Todd to be last. And do I even need to say who Tony Todd is? Fucking. Now, this is where I'm going to get chastised. I've never really cared for Tony Todd as an actor outside of the first Candyman. The first Candyman, he sells it. Great job. Just after that, it's sort of like of Nicolas Cage and just other people like that just have what they do in every movie. Like Tony Todd, he's always like whispering and always super intense. I did like him as Ben in the Tom Savini's of Night of the Living Dead. Nowhere near as good as the original Ben, but I liked him as Ben. He was Corey Feldman's manager, and Corey Feldman's name is Johnny Splatter. And like I said, Corey Feldman, he's trying. Like, he really is putting in the effort. He's not a good actor as an adult. I mean, either he had it when he was a kid, or he just had the right roles when he was a kid. I mean, Gremlins, probably why he's in this. Joe Dante. Of course, Mouth from the Goonies, or, Teddy from Stand By Me. I know he voiced one of the Turtles in the original of Ninja Turtles. Yeah, he shoots himself. But, because in the beginning we see his suicide video when he shoots himself. Oh, there was one other one. His girlfriend. His ditzy blonde girlfriend. She gets her heart ripped out. Which, the heart looks cool. But this is how cheesy this movie is. Because they're in the bedroom and she's laying on the bed. Well, I'll say my point first and then He rips her heart out, and when he drops the heart on the bed, it is the stock sound, the most stock sound of wet. Just think of any cartoon when something's supposed to sound wet and landing on something, like a splat sound. It's that sound. Like a heart landing on a bed. They even add that. That's how cheesy this movie is. So yeah, how is he killing these people? Well, during his suicide video, he does this incantation. So now, with all these people at his castle watching this video now that he's dead, he comes back as a zombie. And he's really trying to do Freddy Krueger with this. And even the makeup, like, you look at, especially the older films, how Freddy's, because he is all zombied out. You look at, like, how his brow kind of goes down to his nose, and then there's, like, the point of his nose. Kind of looks like that, and he's kind of doing, like, the wrong turn, 4 and 5 kind of, like, zombie acting. Like, just trying to do a lot with his head and his eyes, and cheesy dialogue, being like, trying to drop one-liners like Freddy, like, rip out your heart like you did mine. And of course, Tony Todd, he's able to do, like, reverse the voodoo spell. And then he strikes a deal with Corey Feldman about, you know, bring the other people back, but they'll sort of be your zombies or whatever. And, you know, because you're like this gothic rock star, Johnny Splatter, you know, you're resurrected from the dead, you know, ticket sales and tour dates, you know, you're going to be making tons of money again. So they strike a deal, his bandmates come back, and then it literally ends with Corey Feldman picking up Tony Todd with the most, like, Freddy Krueger sound he's trying to do. He's like, 5% commission, not 10. And then it ends. So is this a review or a rant? I don't fucking know. I mean, everything points to, yes, it's supposed to be this cheesy, this stupid, this bad. I mean, Roger Corman, he's known for his quick, cheap, cheesy productions. Splatter films, especially when you look at the godfather of splatter, you know, Herschel Gordon Lewis, splatter films, it's sort of like the porn of gore. It's like nothing matters at all. Acting, production, story, anything. As long as the gore and blood is there, and there's plenty of it. That's what this is. You know, Joe Dante's direction, I think he's trying to just go with the craziness of everything else. Because, I mean, there's even one point where Tony Todd, he's trying to remember how to reverse the spell. And there's, like, the fishbowl kind of lens. And it's, like, wide angle. The guy that plays the guitarist, he's just this, like, Saved by the Bell. Like, take bad acting from, like, Saved by the Bell and make it sarcastic. It's like, well, why don't you go check? Just stupid shit like that. I mean, if you're into low budget, culty, bad shit, check it out. It's on Netflix. It's made for Netflix, and it's still on there. But I really find that given this bad notices or shitting on it, kind of defeats the purpose. Like, it's supposed to come off that way. You know, like saying, like people saying, I didn't find Evil Dead 2 that scary because it was too silly. It's a fucking horror comedy. It's kind of like that. You know, it's supposed to be this cheesy, you know, I'm kind of repeating myself, but that's really what it is. If you're a gore hound, check it out, but don't go into it thinking you're going to get this serious, like, Saw or Hostel kind of film. It's only 29 minutes, but just keep in mind, it's going to be silly. Like, just keep in mind, when you click on it, you're going to see the name, Roger Corman. Keep that in mind, and you should be fine. At least I was, because I'm a fan of Roger Corman. But that's really all I got for Splatter. And I mean, hell, the review's almost just as long as the fucking movie. But I really don't know what else to say about it. But yeah, that's it.